Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Andra Makes, where I'll be sharing things I've made, and today I'll be sharing my Mama Lily Romper by Made for Mermaids that I made from a bed sheet I found at a thrift store. But before I do that, I thought it would be fun in each video to quickly share a mug from my collection. So here's today's mug. Okay, I have a plans video already on my channel for this make where I show you the line drawings of the pattern. There's several different back bodice options and several different bottom options that you can mix and match, and I go over all that and the story about the sheet and all that fun stuff. So if you want the backstory, check out that video if you haven't seen it already. But I chose to make the full back bodice with the full length pants to make a romper. Although I feel silly saying romper, being in my 50s, I think maybe jumpsuit might be more appropriate for me. But anyway, I chose the full length pants, but I wanted to customize the length to make it a cropped length. And I'm so excited about how it turned out, and here it is. I'll give you a quick up and down, and then I'll talk about each section in more detail. Here's the front, and then the full, well, cropped for me, length pants. Love the halter style. I think it's the most flattering on everyone. And here's the back. This is the full back option that I chose. There's the waist and the pants, of course. And I really, really love this pattern and enjoyed making it. And I'll go over a few details. There's the bias binding, and I will admit that I'm not a huge fan of sewing bias binding. I'm not a huge fan of making it either, actually, but sometimes you gotta sew with it. So I bought pre-made binding because, like I said, I'm not a fan of making bias binding, and I used a woven, and there is a knit option for this pattern, so keep that in mind. And it ties on the side, the version I made, although in the pattern there's an option for making a buttonhole in the back and then threading your ties through the buttonhole in the back and then tying it right here in the center of the back. Although I chose to do the little side tie with the bow. I think that would be easier to do yourself. And one thing I will do if I make this pattern again, and I probably will because I really love it, is my bias binding was too short after I made the top, and I didn't have enough to tie the ties. So next time I make it, I will make the bias binding longer than what the pattern calls for after I've made the complete thing using the bias binding and everything with the longer length. I'll put it on and tie it and get everything the length I want, and then cut these to be the length I want. But I actually had to add bias binding to mine to get it to be long enough to tie. So I'm not sure what happened there, although it may be the bodice. Her patterns are drafted for someone who's 5'5", and she gives you the formula in the pattern to slash and spread the bodice for ever how many inches you're taller than 5'5", or she shows you how to shorten it if you're shorter than 5'5", but I'm 5'11", so I had to increase my bodice length quite a bit, and I'm wondering if that maybe had something to do with the ties not being long enough. I'm not sure. But back to the slashing and spreading, you don't do it at the bottom of the bodice, of course. You do it like right in here. She shows you on the pattern, but I have never done that technique before. And in the pattern, it just tells you to slash and spread, and it gives you the line of where to slash it. But I had no idea what I was doing. I did Google, but I couldn't find anything to help me. I just didn't really need to spread it. I just needed to slash it to make it longer. But I just went with my gut and guessed, which is what I do a lot, and it worked out great. I'm so pleased with how it turned out, especially me not knowing what I was doing. And then I had to do the same for the back bodice, of course, also. And it turned out really well too. So I'm really pleased with that. And then there's an elasticized waist right here. And then pockets, of course. Give me all the pockets in everything. And of course, life is too short for boring pockets. That's why we sew, right? And I use this contrasting fabric, still the same colors, but contrasting yellow and gray for the pockets. I always like to do, well, not always, but most times like to do a fun pocket in things I make. I love being able to add a little pop like that, even if I'm the only one who knows it's there. And if you if you saw my plans video for this, I wanted to use the band that goes around the top of the sheet as my cuff for my pants. Like I said, I am 5'11", and I cut off 5.5 inches from the full-length pants, and they were still almost full-length pants. So I'm not sure what happened there, but I wasn't able to use as much of the band around the sheet that I wanted to for my cuff. So I'm a little bummed about that, but I just folded it under. This is how much I had to fold it under to, even after cutting off 5.5 inches to get the cropped length I want. And they're really not like super cropped or anything, but this does give the inside a nice tailored finished look. But this right here is the only amount of the band on the sheet that I could use for my cuff. But like I said, I folded it up and then sort of made my own faux wide cuff. So I'm a little bummed that didn't work out, but oh well, that happens sometimes. You just gotta make it work. And like I said, I really love this pattern. Oh, I did size up for the bottoms. I went up one size that is larger than my hips are because I wanted it to be full and wide and loose fitting. I didn't want it to be too tight or anything, especially since this is a woven. And also the original pattern tapers a little bit at the bottom, but I wanted mine to go straight down from the hips, so it's sort of a wide leg cropped look, which I really love. And I do recommend this pattern maybe for an advanced beginner. Back to the bias binding, I forgot to say, I really took my time with it and pressed between each step and everything that you're supposed to do, and that really did make a difference. So it wasn't too bad. And I also wanted to say that there's only 4 pattern pieces to this pattern: front bodice, back bodice, front bottoms, and back bottoms. And if you want to add pockets, which of course we do, that would be only 5 pattern pieces. So it's a relatively easy and quick sew, and you get a beautiful result. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch my video. If you'd like to see future videos of things I make, please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. See you next time. Bye!